Hi, my name is Dr. Daniel Fox, and I'm a licensed psychologist in the state of Texas. And today, I want to talk about the core content of borderline personality disorder. Let's take a moment. Think about what thoughts, feelings, and memories impact you most. Which of these tend to drive you to engage in unhealthy beliefs, behaviors, and patterns? The things that drive you to engage in your beliefs, behaviors, and patterns are what make up your core content. And we're going to identify it for you today in this video, okay, and discuss what makes it so hard to get to and to change. So let's get started. So the two parts of your personality. So there are two parts to everyone's personality. There's core content and surface content. And if you've watched my videos, you know I've talked a lot about core content and surface content. Surface content is the result of the activation of your core content. Surface content tends to be your beliefs, behaviors, and patterns, right, that you engage in, and these can be adaptive or maladaptive. Individuals with personality disorders, for this video, we're specifically talking about borderline personality disorder, but again, this happens in all personality. But in personality disorders, these folks tend to engage in maladaptive beliefs, behaviors, and patterns that perpetuate the personality disorder, in this case, borderline personality disorder. Now, most videos and stuff you hear about on BPD, that tends to address surface structure. But what about what's underneath? What about what is the root of your BPD? Okay, that is your core content. Now, core content, your core content is made up of the parts of you that when activated, they drive you to believe, behave, fall into these beliefs, behaviors, and patterns. And for those with BPD, they tend to be largely self-destructive. Now, as we go forward in this video, it's important that you know that it's okay to turn it off at any time, to pause it if you need to, because some of the stuff we're talking about, because it is your core content, may bring up a lot of stuff for you. And that's okay. If it's bringing up too much, take a break. The video's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. It's fine. Just take your time. Just take a break. Because this is a process that takes a really long time. Core content is like that. Okay? That is because it's linked to the parts of you that are very central to your psychological makeup, that is related to past hurts, experiences, and it's linked to your psychological defenses as well. Okay? These are called your defense mechanisms. Okay? We're going to talk about that as well. So let's talk about finding your core content. Think of a common behavior that you engage in. This could be cutting yourself, we'll say common maladaptive behavior. This could be cutting yourself, refusing to let go of a loved one or an idealized other, drinking, drugging, punching walls or other people, and so on. All those behaviors. Well, what is a feeling or a thought or an image or a memory that is related to your past that drives you to behave in that way? Okay? You may have to dig deep to find it and through some uncomfortable content to get there, but it's important to get there when you're ready. Now, for some folks, it is best to do this with a mental health provider, someone that can help guide you, someone who understands what's going on with you, is not going to judge you for it. Okay, so that's important as well. And if you don't feel comfortable doing this on your own, that's totally okay. You can do it with that mental health provider as well. Some folks feel like they have enough coping strategies, management strategies, that they are able to do this on their own. Okay, so first, one of the first things I will do with my clients with any personality disorder, whether they have a personality disorder or not, is to find their core content. Now, some common ones for my clients with BPD are worthlessness, loneliness, vulnerability, abandonment, emptiness, but also being able, independent, determined, having an integrity, right, and so on. So notice that all of the core content that I listed are not negative. Okay? That is because all of our core content is not negative. Now, your BPD wants you to believe that. It wants you to believe that your core is negative, that your value is worthless, that you are unforgivable, a consistent failure. That's what your BPD wants you to believe. But the reality is that our core content is not all maladaptive. It is not all negative. That we have positives as well. Everybody does. And all parts of your psychological makeup is not all negative. It's important to know that. Your BPD wants you to believe that, as we just talked about. Remember, your BPD lies to you. It distorts your image, distorts how you see the world, right? How you see what's going on and how you see yourself. So remember, right, that this is a distortion. It uses what's called a BPD lens, right, which is another video that I've made as well. Okay? And it uses this to distort that view so that you can't see your core content, or that you only see the negative. Because if you see your core content authentically, you can work to change it. Okay? And we also have to recognize that your core content has defenses. When you feel someone is tapped into your core content, or when your therapist, friend, significant other, whomever, taps into your core content, what do you usually do? What's that immediate defense that comes up? Okay? Do you act out? Do you put out a lot of hateful energy onto someone else who is safer? So do you put it on a safer object? Do you use humor? Do you rationalize using statistics? Refuse to believe it's true? Try to block it out of awareness? Or do you split? See all good or all bad? These are defense mechanisms that keep your core content safe, hidden, and intact. These are the things that are built around, right? It's a defensive wall around your core content that makes it difficult to get to. This is part of what makes it difficult for a lot of mental health providers to get to that central component, core content, of BPD. And a lot of times the defenses are so strong that the therapist will give up, the therapist will give up, the client will give up, somebody's given up. And that keeps that core content safe, and that actually reinforces a lot of those defense mechanisms. But if you know they're there, you know which ones are there, you can work to get around them, right? And get over them underneath whatever it is, to get into hit and tap into that core content. To overcome your BPD, you have to get to that core content. But because it's so well defended, it's difficult, right? As I just mentioned. So what I did is I made a worksheet of common defense mechanisms, and there's little check boxes on the left, and go through those defense mechanisms and think about it. All right, when my core content is activated, think of what your core content is. Think back to those memories. Think back to those experiences. What brings it up? What is it? Is it abandonment? Is it emptiness? Is it loss? Is it independence? Some of my clients, when they feel a loss of independence is very important to them, that when they feel this loss of independence, that triggers that surface structure behavior. And if that someone is doing that, the way they manage that experience, that is usually a defense mechanism. So go through, identify what that core content is, what is that defense mechanism that's in place, and that surface structure behavior. You can download that defense mechanism worksheet, go through it, check it out. Remember, we're building that insight, okay? Well, now that you have an idea of how to identify your core content, now that you have a worksheet or a way to identify your defense mechanisms, we've worked a lot on surface structure behavior throughout my videos. So now what do we do? Now, what do you do? Well, we're moving through this video quickly, but this by no means is simple or a quick task, getting to that core content, dealing with that core content. But now that you know how to identify your core content and the associated defense mechanisms, you can use this information to help you recognize beliefs, behaviors, and patterns that are associated with it. And instead of falling into maladaptive surface content, right, surface structure behaviors, you can identify and use adaptive ones to help you lessen and control your BPD. In therapy, this is what my clients and I work on most, sometimes for years, after they let me in. And I can get around the defense mechanisms, and that can take a really long time in many cases. It's building up trust, it's building understanding, it's building insight, awareness. What are these videos? What are they based on? Building insight and awareness, right? And some folks through the videos have been very kind, and they say that they trust me. So that component is done. Now we need to do is we need to get around those defense mechanisms to get to core content and explore it. And once we get to that core content, that explains or helps us provide a framework for what is going on with the client and what is going on with that individual. and how they see the world and their BPD lens and all those other BPD factors that they're dealing with. It's calling all of these maladaptive patterns, beliefs, behaviors, and patterns. It's so disruptive in their life. And it is possible to get down there. It is possible to get down to that core content and to do it differently. My clients have done it. I know that a lot of folks have done it. They've written me. They've said that they've done it. It's amazing. You can totally do it. If you want to learn more about core content, you can check out my latest workbook, the Borderline Personality Disorder Workbook, and it will walk you through identifying your core content, lessening its impact, building adaptive strategies to do things differently, and to grow beyond your BPD, and it is possible. Thank you for your time and attention. Please leave any comments or thoughts that you may have about this video or your core content. Thank you again very much for your time and attention. If you like this video, check out some of my others and subscribe. That would be great. Thank you very much and have a good day. Thanks. Bye-bye.